is 45 days till the man burns, and today we're talking about 10 more things that Burning Man first timers should know. So first up, it can rain at Burning Man. You might think that, it's a desert, so there's no rain there, but that's not the case. It does not rain that often, but it is a possibility. When it rains at Burning Man, the ground just pretty much turns into sludge. You won't be able to ride your bike. Walking will become a mission. You'll want to put plastic bags or something over your boots to try and minimize the amount of mud that is collecting on them. It also gets a bit chilly at night. People tend to focus a lot on the heat because it gets pretty hot in the day and tend to forget that it also gets pretty chilly at night. You'll definitely want to bring along some stuff to keep you warm at night. Next up, MOOP. If you haven't heard about MOOP, it's matter out of place. Basically, it's like littering. Anything you bring to Burning Man with you, you should take away with you. Anything that you drop on the ground, no matter how small, a tiny speck of glitter, which is banned at Burning Man, that is considered MOOP and it needs to leave the place with you. But something that a lot of people don't seem to realise is MOOP is cigarette ash. That ash was not there before you got there. You are putting it on the playground, you are sprinkling it around the desert, and it's MOOP. So if you're a smoker, make sure you bring along some kind of tin with a nice secure lid. Sweet tins tend to be the most popular, that you can use as your own personal little sealable ashtray. And then all your ash can go in there, all your butts can go in there, and then you are not mooping everywhere. Burning Man has its own radio station. It's 94.5 FM, and whenever there's some kind of emergency, someone gets lost and they're just like locking down Burning Man, there's a dust storm, there's rain, there's some kind of crazy weather conditions, then you can tune into the Burning Man radio station and you'll get frequent updates on whatever the situation is. It's super handy for when there's terrible weather conditions and you just really want to know kind of when they're going to pass and you can get back out there and play. But just because there's terrible weather conditions, it does not mean you are confined to your own camp. You can still go and hang out in a theme camp or a neighbour's camp or someone else's camp and have an adventure. As long as it's safe for you to get from your camp to wherever it is you're trying to go, then go for it. Adventures don't have to stop just because the weather is having a bit of a tantrum. If you've watched a lot of the prep videos for Burning Man and people kind of giving you tips about Burning Man like the videos that I do, then we kind of talk a lot about the heat and about the cold. You're going to get cold at night, it's going to be hot in the day, and it can feel like, everyone's kind of saying, it's Jamaica in the daytime and Antarctica at nighttime. Sometimes those are kind of the extremes. Like, yes, it does get very hot in the day, it does get cold at night, but it's not quite as extreme as like Jamaica and the Arctic. It just can sometimes come across that way. You are not going to need to bring along, like full-on winter gear like you're mountaineering in the Alps or something. A nice faux fur coat will do, maybe some extra layers to keep you warm if it is a bit chilly at night. It is a good idea to be prepared for extremes though. You will want some nice warm clothes for the night and, some nice light clothes for the day. Along with the obvious, a nice warm sleeping bag and, sun cream and lip balm and a big hat. Next up, communal bikes. There are communal bikes at Burning Man. There aren't enough to go around. That would be a hell of a lot of communal bikes. And I do advise that you bring along your own bike. Black Rock City is huge. It is very difficult to, get around and really see everything if you don't have a bike. And you can pick them up pretty cheap in Reno. But if you do end up coming bikeless, then, there are communal bikes that you can use if you can find one. You are not allowed to pee on the ground. I know it sounds a bit weird, you're out in nature, you're camping. Probably for most people when they're camping and they want to pee, they just hop outside their tent and do what they want to do. But at Burning Man, it is a huge no. You can get a big fine for doing that. Aside from peeing as well, any kind of water that is contaminated in any way, really any kind of water that is not just pure clean water going on the playground, it is against the rules and can get you a fine. That water that you cooked your pasta in, that cannot go on the floor. You need to evaporate that or pack it up and take it out with you when you leave. If you decide to have some kind of makeshift shower where you tip water over yourself, if that water's going on the playground, you're breaking the rules and you could get a fine, because chances are you have something on you like sun cream that's mixing in with that water and that's getting on the ground. Plus, if everyone's peeing on the ground, it's going to be so gross after a couple of days. There's just going to be these sludgy pee puddles everywhere. Everything's going to smell bad. Just, don't do it. Go to the portaloos. I know portaloos are kind of nightmare fuel, but go to the Portaloos, and if you kind of have a phobia, you really don't want to do that, then have a pee bottle that you can pee into. If you're a lady, you might need a pee funnel to help you pee into a bottle because, you know, it's a bit challenging for us. Also, you can't poo on the ground. I feel like people are more likely to pee on the ground than poo on the ground, but just in case you think you can poo, because I didn't specifically say it a minute ago, like, no, you can't do that either. Or puke. No bodily functions on the ground. You need to save all that for the Portaloos. And the only things that can go in the Portaloos are things that come out your body, organic things. The 3 Ps, pee, poo, and puke. Or single-ply toilet paper. And I'm not missing anything off that list, you know, antibacterial wipes, hand wipes, feminine hygiene products, all of that stuff cannot go in the Portaloos. You need to pop that stuff in a Ziploc bag or whatever you want to store it in. And it's another thing that you are going to have to store for the rest of Burning Man and pack out and dispose of once you've left. Next up is securing your tent and your shade structures. If you're trying to do things nice and cheap, you might be tempted to go for that super cheap tent. And you know the stakes it comes with, the ones that like just bend over as soon as they see a hammer, they're like, oh no. Those are not going to hold your tent in place. There can be some incredibly strong winds at Burning Man, and they often pop up out of nowhere. If you just use those cheap, crappy stakes, there is a chance that the wind is going to come, it's going to pick up your tent, and it's going to go flying off over the player, just sprinkling all your belongings everywhere. You do not want that to happen. So most people swear by rebar. There are tons of instructions out there on how to kind of make your own rebar. But if you're looking for a quick, simple solution, then, you know, just get some decent stakes. You can get decent stakes. Whatever you decide to use, make sure you bring along something to cover the ends of it with. Tennis balls with like a split in them, they work really well. You could tie like plastic bottles that you've cut in half over the top of them, just something to go over the top of them so that when people are walking past in the dark, they're not going to end up scratching themselves on your stake that's like just sticking out the ground like a shard of metal. And that's why you want to wear boots. If you've got some nice, strong, sturdy boots on, then hopefully that's going to protect you from any rogue rebar or tent stakes like poking up waiting to get you. And it will also help protect your feet from the player dust. Player dust is very alkaline, and if you have your feet rubbing around in it all day, then you will end up getting chemical burns, which we call player foot. It does not look like fun, it is incredibly painful, and it can completely ruin your time at Burning Man because it's going to be very difficult for you to walk. It can actually get quite serious if you don't kind of look after it. Another way to combat player foot is to wash your feet frequently in a vinegar water solution. So 1 part vinegar, 3 or 4 parts water, just kind of douse your feet in it, make sure none of it's going on the playground, and the acid in the vinegar will break down the dust, so then you can just, you know, give them a clean, wipe them off, maybe put some lotion on them, and your feet should be feeling good as new. As long as you put it on before you get player foot. I mean, once you have player foot, putting vinegar on it's not going to do that much. I mean, it will stop it getting worse probably, but you know, it's not a magic cure. It's not going to heal it in a day. But seriously, if you do get player foot and, you know, it's getting bad, you are having a fever, it's going very red, it's very painful, getting like red streaks up your legs, anything like that, head over to the medical camp, get them to take a look and make sure you are okay. If you're bringing along any pills or medication, make sure they are not gel capsules. You know how gel capsules kind of look like gummy bears, except they're a bit more solid? In the heat, they do a pretty similar thing to what gummy bears do. They start to melt. And while I've never seen them melt like completely into one big squishy lump, which I have with gummy worms, and sadly it was on my car seat, they do melt enough to just kind of all stick together in one impenetrable block where you can't get one of the capsules off. So if you're planning to bring any pills or medication, make sure it is not in gel form. You want those classic chalky tablet things. And any medication you're bringing that you need, like you really need it to survive, make sure you read the storage instructions, especially the bit about temperatures. You don't want to find out that like your heart medication is not working because you're storing it way too hot. Because, you know, it might be as simple as just chucking the pill bottle in a nice, secure, sealable Ziploc bag and throwing it in your cooler to keep it at a good temperature to ensure it's still working. So I hope this was helpful, guys. I would love to hear everyone else's tips for first timers. You know, what is something that you wish you'd known the first time you went to Burning Man? Let me know in the comments. And if you see me at Burning Man this year, feel free to come and say hi to me. Bye, guys.